So if you are interested in investing in real estate, but you don't have thousands of dollars, nor do you want to manage the whole process of getting pre-approved and down payments and getting inspections and all that, then you want to definitely like this video and watch the rest of it, because I'm going to talk about Fundrise, which is one of my favorite platforms that I use for real estate investing. And I'm going to walk you through my Fundrise portfolio and tell you why I continue to invest in it. So in this video, we're going to cover a few things. Number one, what Fundrise is. I'm going to walk you through that. Number two is I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I continue to invest with Fundrise. I'm going to give you a peek into my portfolio, and I'm going to tell you if this might be a good opportunity for you based on the kind of person that you are. So let's get into it. If you have never heard of Fundrise, Fundrise is a real estate crowdfunding platform that allows you to invest in private real estate, such as single family homes, townhomes, and even commercial buildings such as malls or mixed use properties, which would be like an apartment on the top and like a nail salon on the bottom. And these are basically called REITs, and they're private REITs, e-REITs. And REITs are not just unique to Fundrise. You can purchase REITs on the stock market, which is what we should all be familiar with, which could be the S&P 500, NASDAQ, etc. And I invest in those too, to be clear. But this video, we're going to talk about Fundrise in particular, because the platform is the most user-friendly to me. Even though I do invest in public REITs on the stock market, it takes a little more effort to kind of understand which ones are best for me, and it doesn't take that same effort when it comes to Fundrise. It's just a lot more user-friendly. So that is what REITs are. REITs stand for Real Estate Investment Trust, and the way that I explain them to people who have never heard of them is that they are very similar to stocks in Facebook, Google, Apple, etc. And they operate the same, where you are basically a shareholder of this bigger corporation without actually having to manage the whole process of running the corporation. You're not the CEO of it. You're just a shareholder, meaning that you own a portion of said company. But with REITs, Real Estate Investment Trust, they're not companies per se. They're real estate properties, and that can be residential real estate, such as what we live in, or it could be commercial real estate, which could be malls, gyms, things like that. So the difference between public REITs and private REITs is usually the public REITs are part of some bigger company that owns real estate. Think of like a Berkshire Hathaway, for example. If you've ever looked at what they own malls, they own apartment buildings, so it's a part of a bigger conglomerate, versus these private REITs via Fundrise. They could be a single family home where like that's it, it can be an apartment building and that's it. And that's literally what it is. And I'm going to highlight somewhere later in the video. I'm going to provide a screenshot of some of the properties that I'm actively invested in based on Fundrise. So again, these are stocks, but the stocks are actually of properties, and they're not termed as stocks. You just happen to own a portion of this real estate without having to do the work of owning it outright. Like with my home right now, if something breaks, I have to fix it, but if something breaks at these properties that you own, a part of your portfolio, you're not fixing it. They're not calling you. Like, they don't even have your information. You're like a silent partner, if you will, of real estate. So that is what REITs are, and that's what Fundrise is. And again, the difference is that it's not public properties. These are private properties that you're investing in if you go down the Fundrise route, which is what we're going to be talking about for the rest of this video. So let's jump into some of the reasons why I love Fundrise and why I love REITs, and why I continue to invest in them over time. So number one is that it is a hands-off and passive investment for me and for you if you decide to do it. So 90% of the revenue that REITs earn, whether it's public REITs or private REITs, are required to go to investors. And that's the number one differentiator between investing in an Apple, a Google, a Facebook, and investing in REITs, which are real estate investment trusts, is that the revenue is required by law to go to investors. The people that are putting their money into these REITs will always see, not always because things do happen, but they are expected to receive a return because the money is not staying in the properties. That 10% is staying there, but the rest of it is going to people that are actively investing, and you don't have to do anything besides literally give your money to do this. So people, a lot of people want to get invested. They want to invest in real estate, but they don't want to flip the house. They don't want to save for a down payment. They don't want to go through all of that. They just want to give some money and make some money based off that money. And that's literally what REITs provide you with. It's a hands-off process, because I know what it's like to go through the home buying process. I've been through it many, many times. And I know that as I move towards more of my nomadic lifestyle, where I'm just collecting money and not having to work for it, I'm likely going to be investing a lot more in REITs, more than I already do now, because I don't want to have to be on the hook for plumbing being needed. I don't want to have to be on the hook for finding tenants for my place. Like, that's just not of interest to me. I mean, it is for the places that I know I'm going to get, but like, to just have 100 properties in my portfolio, it's not even conducive to the lifestyle I want to live. So like, if you are like me and you don't want to have to be managing all these properties, you don't have thousands of dollars to invest right now in real estate. You may have a couple of $100. You may have $50, and you just want to let it grow over time, then, Fundrise and REITs is a good opportunity for you to consider. Ultimately, this is not investment advice. You have to do your own research and determine what's best for you. This is just why myself personally, continue to invest in REITs via Fundrise. Number 2 is that it allows me to diversify what my investments are. So Fundrise and REITs is one of many things that I'm invested in. I also invest in index funds. I invest in ETFs. I have individual stocks, and I also am purchasing a rental property in addition to making my current home a rental property. Like, I have traveling nurses that stay with me over time. So my money is split, in addition to my high yield savings account and some of those other things that you all should already know about if you've been watching my videos. Like, I'm diversified. So like, if ish hits the fan with these REITs and they don't make me any money, which I'm going to talk about later, so stick around and I'm going to tell you why I ended up adjusting my REIT strategy, I'm not on the hook. I'm not, losing all my money. If things hit the fan with the S&P 500 and my index funds aren't performing, that's fine, because my money is split across multiple things. So knowing that I'm going to be making money with REITs, because 90% of the revenue is required to go to investors like me, that's something I need to be invested in, because it'll allow me an opportunity to make some real money passively, versus maybe if the stock market doesn't perform that well for a year, at least my money is diversified across many different opportunities. So that's another reason why I continue to invest with Fundrise and with REITs, is because I know that if ish hits the fan, I'm not out on a limb, and I only invest what I can afford. I've adjusted my budget to be, conducive to the lifestyle goals that I have, and a lot of my lifestyle goals require money. So I need to be diversified, because I know that we're in this market and things are fluctuating at all times. So like, it's a great way to diversify where your money is, so that you have an opportunity to make money across multiple things. So that's reason number 2. And reason number 3 is that it is a familiar experience for me. Like I said, if you're invested in some larger Vanguard real estate, index fund or private REIT or public REIT, you may not even understand the terminology around it. It's like, okay, the expense ratio is this, and like, it just, learning how to read like a prospectus takes time. And like, I'm still refining my own process around it. And thank God for YouTube. Like, I've learned how to understand and go directly to the things that actually matter, and understand the performance of, various index funds and ETFs, but that does not come easy. It takes a lot of learning and a lot of studying that a lot of us just don't have time to do. Now, I'm not going to say use that as an excuse, because we have YouTube, we have audiobooks. Like, you have to be willing to put in the work to like really grow, your investment knowledge, which is what I had to do. I've been doing that, I feel like, for the last 10 years. But it just can feel very overwhelming, and it's like all this terminology just doesn't make sense. So when it comes to Fundrise and these private REITs, it's a familiar process in the sense of you're going to see some properties in Savannah, Georgia. You're going to see properties in Los Angeles, California. And they're going to be properties that you can understand. It's going to be a single family home. It's going to be an apartment complex. It's going to be a new mall that's being built. It's not going to be something that you don't understand, because likely we're living in these places that they're investing in. So you have a personal connection to it. It doesn't feel like it's some far-fetched thing with all these, properties and stuff that just doesn't make sense to you. These are things that you can literally envision. You may even live in a city where there are active investments being managed, So for me, that was important. It's for me to not feel like you're speaking something that I can't understand. And I needed it to be an easy to understand process. So we're going to dive into what my portfolio looks like, but it just doesn't feel overwhelming to choose an investment. They make it very easy for you. If you want something that's income-based, if you want to collect those dividends on a quarterly basis like I do, then they have an income real estate fund. If you aren't interested in dividends, getting that money, right now, you maybe want to get it later and you want to see the properties appreciate, meaning that, they're worth maybe $500,000 right now, but maybe in 10 years, they're worth double that. And I want to have my portfolio sit there until I'm ready to cash out and make that money. Then you might be interested in growth-based, REITs. But again, they make it so easy to understand. Income versus growth. Just listening to me say that right now, I'm sure it connects in your brain versus something that just feels so it feels like I need to go to finance school to understand. Who wants to do that? We don't work in finance. I don't work in finance. I'm just trying to get this money, and I'm trying to help y'all get this money. And so Fundrise makes it easier for you to kind of understand what's happening in your portfolio. And if you are interested in Fundrise after those 3 reasons and just getting an understanding of REITs, I do have an ebook on sale. I'm going to show something on the screen that dives into, what Fundrise is, how to really get your portfolio and your account up and running. That's really what the ebook is about. You're going to have screenshots of what properties I'm invested in. You're going to learn more about my investment strategy, but also the other strategies that are available. And it's going to really just give you a deep dive and a well-rounded overview of Fundrise so that you set up your account for success and you're not stuck. I get so many people reaching out to me, because they've signed up for Fundrise and they don't know what the next step is. And it's I want you to take the next step. I don't want you to just sign up. I want you to feel confident as you're in the portfolio and you're choosing investments that are unique to your goals. My goal is income, passive income, not so much growth. I want my money right now so that I can invest it into other stuff. But some people might not be interested in that. They may be interested in that long-term appreciation. So, the ebook is linked in the description. I've gotten so much good feedback from it already. I've soft launched it on TikTok, and so many people have purchased it already and gotten their accounts up and running. So it's only $6.99. The price will likely increase next year. Not next year, Lord Jesus, next month. So please get it while it's this price, because I want you guys to get in there and get started. I'm an action taker, and I need you to be an action taker if you're watching these videos. Do your research, of course, but don't sit on this. It's $10 to open an account. It's not your whole savings, okay? Get started, purchase something, and continue to add that money over time. So that is the 3 reasons why, and that is what Fundrise continues to provide for me from an overall real estate investing perspective. So the rest of this video, I'm going to actually not talk on this screen, and I'm going to pull up, I'm going to split the screen so that you guys can get a peek into my Fundrise portfolio, because you guys have been asking for it, and I've been I don't want to share all of my stuff because there's a lot of personal information, but I shared what was general enough and comfortable enough for me to share. So thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the peek into my portfolio, and leave any questions or comments that you have below, and let me know what other topics you have interest in. So I will see you guys in the next video. Watch the rest of the video though. Okay, you guys, so this is my updated Fundrise review for 2024. I have not been adding money to my Fundrise portfolio for 2024. I have invested that money elsewhere, i.e. my Roth IRA. I do have one REIT there, which is a public REIT, and then I also invest in REITs through my health savings account, which is through my employer. I do have a high deductible health plan. There are two types of HSAs, and you have to use the high deductible health option to invest a portion of your funds. And the reason I do that is because, number one, my employer offers some additional money on top of what I already contribute. And then two is that HSAs are triple tax advantaged. So you're not taxed on any of your growth in your account. You're not taxed when it's time to take it out, as long as you assume a certain time. You're not taxed on any withdrawals as long as they are health related expenses. So you can't just take money out to go shopping. Like, it needs to be a health related expense, like reimbursing yourself for a medical expense that you have, maybe going to the doctor, copay, things like that. So I'm seeing more traction, more ROI, more return on investment with my public REITs that are in both of those accounts. So I have decided to pivot and focus on that. But despite that, I have still sort of earned a little bit of coinage from my Fundrise. So I'm up $118 year to date, which means January to November I'm up. But this is historically low for the stock market. The stock market returns are usually between 7 and 10% annually. Now, granted, if it's a trash economy, we're not going to get that, but the economy has slowly been rebounding. So I would have expected higher, but I also haven't been contributing. So because of that, I'm okay with this because I haven't added anything. And despite that, my money hasn't lost any value this year, because last year was a bad year, and I'm going to show you why. And that's why I decided to pivot. So my quarterly breakdowns, my quarterly dividend breakdowns are very low because, again, I haven't been adding to this account. $12 Q1, $12 Q2, $11 Q3, and they're projecting $4, but it's only November. We have until the rest of the year. I'm sure it's going to be in line with $11 or $12. Not much that I'm working with, you know. But if I was serious about REITs and I wanted to really focus more of my income on REITs, I would do that. But I'm I'm diversified across the S&P 500. I'm diversified with REITs, with REITs, with ETFs, exchange traded funds, with index funds. Like, I love my diversification that I'm on this year. I've gotten really intentional with really like understanding my investments and making sure I'm not just investing just to invest, but I'm always going to be a REITs girly because REITs are required to pay 90% of their revenue to investors, and I am an investor, and that doesn't matter if it's through Fundrise or what I'm doing with my other accounts, you know, public or private REITs. The requirement is still the same. So this is what my portfolio looks like. Yeah, I contributed around $2,000, a little over $2,000, and I've gotten around $300 back. I'm sure I could have gotten more back if I contribute more, but I haven't been contributing because I've been putting that money in my Roth, which are where my REITs are, my other REITs are, and my HSA, which is my health savings account. So here are some growth REITs. As I mentioned with those are basically like you're giving them money to go do things, to go buy land, to go build on the land, and then eventually you'll get it back once they've sold it or once they've put somebody in that property. And this can be, again, homes. It can be commercial properties like malls, or it can be a combination of both. And then you have private credit here, which are those income-based REITs that I mentioned. So this is the money that you actually get quarterly. So these are where my quarterly, dividends are coming from, because the income is required to come to me, to my bank account, or to whatever other account I assess. So again, look at these historical trends. 2021 was a great year, baby. 2021 was a great year for REITs. I was seeing a lot of good growth, but also you have to remember back in 2021, interest rates for mortgages were 2%, 3%. Very low. So everybody's buying. I ended up buying property in 2021 as well. So just to put that into perspective, 2022, things are slow. They're still going up, but not how they were looking in 2021. Rates started to go back up a little bit. So people don't have the buying power and the leverage that they had. 2023, rates were fluctuating a lot. So you see, a lot of Fed cuts, but also a lot of Fed hikes. And you have to pay attention to the economy because, look, I lost money consistently. And that's when I was like, okay, now wait a minute. A whole year of losses? I don't want that. So that's when I started looking at, okay, how can I diversify? How can I get into some international ETFs? How can I get into, tech-based index funds? Like, I really diversified because I got intentional about educating myself. And I also have an investment planner. He doesn't manage this. He manages a completely separate account outside of my Roth and my HSA. But he is big on Bitcoin. So I started saying, okay, well, let me learn more about this. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that to you. But my portfolio, the one that he manages, is up. Okay. It's 25% up. Like, it's doing really well. Now, don't ask me nitty gritty. I leave that to him. I pay him for that. But I do understand it at a baseline level because he's big on education just like I am. So yeah, that's why in 2024, I'm like, okay, I don't want to take my money out, but I just won't contribute. I'll put that money towards other things. And that's why you see some historical lows because of that. And my, contributions are minimal. They're non-existent, if you will. So this is my Fundrise portfolio. Pretty simple, to the point. Yeah, I still feel like it's something worth exploring, but there are all types of REITs out there. Again, I'm getting better returns from my other REITs that I'm investing in that are public. But if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer. I'm not an expert. I am not an investment advisor. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. They do offer a lot of great education. And like I mentioned, the portfolios, and let me see if I can show you like what my investments look like. Hopefully I can. Like usually I haven't been in here in so long, y'all. Let me see what's on the news feed. Nope, that's not it. Oy. Usually I can like see my investments. Nope. Is it? Nope. I don't think they'll show me them there. Let's see. Like, it'll show you like what the assets look like. Oh yeah. Okay. So this is a big one that I'm invested in, which is the flagship real estate fund. It's basically where a lot of people start. It is appreciation based. Which means that as the home appreciates in value, your investment will appreciate as well. So these are like some of the sort of assets that are in this fund. So it's townhomes. There's a commerce center in Largo, Florida. There is a Costco looking building in Las Vegas. And then there's some, asset backed securities and bond holdings, and they're gonna build like some type of fixed income component here. So yeah, like this combination of stuff. And these are just regular buildings that you'd likely drive by all the time. And so you can look at like their historical returns. You can look at so much stuff. Like, they do a really good job of like really capturing things and making you as knowledgeable as possible. That is very important to me. This is again where I started with my REITs. I have now sort of diversified. I don't really focus on the private ones as much anymore. But this was a great starting point for me to truly understand, okay, what are REITs? Like, yeah, it's a portion of real estate, but like, what does that really mean? I think Fundrise is a great place to start with just understanding how it works. And when you feel more comfortable and confident, you can start exploring the other ones. That's just my 2 cents. Now, I'm no investment advisor. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm here to answer questions based on my experience, but I highly recommend you all consider like investment advisors. I'm a huge advocate of that. I do manage the majority of my own investments, but he manages a good portion of it, and I can still come to him with questions. And also just read. Like, I read a lot. I ask a lot of questions, and that's how I'm able to see the 12% and up returns that I'm seeing now. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Sorry, that was very loud in your ear. But thank you so much for watching. And if you want me to do another one in 2025, like, I'm going to see how 2024 ends. I might start investing in this again. If you want me to do an updated one in 2025, just comment below. And the more comments I see asking for it, the more I'll prioritize it. So have a good evening. Let's make the best of the rest of this year and beyond. And I'll see you guys in 2025.